What is up guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Dr. Hamis Tang, and today we'll be doing a speed, RAM, temperature, Geekbench and a 3DMark test here within two very powerful flagship phones. In the first corner here we have the POCO F5. It is of course rocking Snapdragon 7 Plus Gen 2 processor, and it's going up against the OnePlus 11, the phone that is with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 processor right inside. In terms of RAM, the POCO F5 does come with 12 gigs of RAM, whereas here maximum it does go up to 16 gigs of RAM. Before we do anything, let's check out the temperatures over here. 27 degrees on each of this phone, 33.7, 33.4, so very similar indeed. And what we like to do at the start is to boot these two phones up and see which one would come out on top. Normally POCO phones have a very fast boot up. We're gonna see here if we can beat the OnePlus 11. And right now I'm just gonna put here to reduce some of the reflections here, and we are going to see both of these two phones have been charged up to 100% for this test, and also brightness would be maxed out, and which we are going to see in a little bit. So let's see who would take the cake. Okay, surprisingly OnePlus 11 is already ready to go, with the POCO F5 just slightly behind it over here. So you can see that both of these two phones have been charged up to 100%, and in terms of brightness here, both of them have been maxed out. As you can see, both of them are connected to the same Wi-Fi network. Every other form of connection is disabled. So what we're going to do now is check out the temperatures. 34.3, and on this phone here, F5 goes at 33.9. So again, still pretty similar indeed. Now let's check out the apps that we are going to test out. Okay, and just to show you guys before we start anything, all apps have been closed on the back here before we start this test, just to make it even. So 1, 2, 3, let's go. Okay, very neck and neck, very close indeed. I think the OnePlus 11 just slightly ahead here. Let's go on to the next app, which is probably Pokemon Go. See which one would come out on top here. Looks like the F5 is pulling ahead. Very slight lead over here. Similar again, and let's go on to YouTube. Okay, pretty similar. Go on to Instagram, pretty similar as well. And then let's go on to PUBG Mobile, a huge app over here. Let's see which one will come out on top in this speed test here. Okay, looks like, to be honest, it was so fast, it was really hard to see the clear winner here. But I think maybe the F5 was just slightly ahead. Going on to Google Chrome. Okay, I think it's the F5 was ahead. Facebook here. Okay. Next up here, Shopee. Okay, pretty fast. YouTube Music. Okay, I think the F5 was just there. Settings, about the same. Let's go to Manchester United, third place finish. Going on to win the FA Cup. Okay, very similar indeed. Going to Premier League. Okay, I think this phone here, the OnePlus 11, was slightly ahead. Netflix here. Slightly on the OnePlus 11 with the camera app. We are going to switch around. Very fast indeed. Going on to TikTok. A slight hit on the OnePlus 11, and going on to Twitter. About the same, I would say, and going on to the Play Store. So speed-wise, very similar indeed. Temperatures. 35.9 on the OnePlus 11, going on to the F5, 35.6, so very similar indeed. And right now what we're going to do is a RAM test. So we're going to go on to Genshin Impact. Still holds up very well. 16 up against 12 gigs of RAM. Similar here as well again. PUBG Mobile, very good. Going on to Google Chrome, very nice. Facebook, these are the apps that I think most people will be switching in between. All doing very nicely. No refreshes whatsoever so far, which is amazing. And then let's go on to the Play Store. Again, all looking really nice. And maybe last one here, Instagram. So very similar indeed. Temperature wise, 36 degrees on the OnePlus 11, F5 35.8, so very similar indeed. And now that is done with the RAM test. Okay, so now we have moved on to the next test, which is the GPU test. So both of these two phones are going to export this at 4K at 30 FPS. Let's see which one will come out on top. Okay, the F5 really very slow behind, not sure exactly why. Whereas the OnePlus 11 just blazes ahead right here. Okay, it's maybe too slow. So if you can have it here, OnePlus 11 clear winner. Okay, so now I'm going to go on to some Geekbench tests here. So first one, before we start anything, let's check out the temperatures before we start. 36 degrees, and on the F5, 36 degrees as well, so very similar. So let's run this CPU benchmark and see which one will come on top, and I'll see you guys at the end when we get the results. Okay, so we are finally done, and surprisingly it took really longer than normal, but we are done here with the POCO F5, and as you can see, it's actually giving better scores compared to the OnePlus 11. And in terms of temperature wise, 36.4, and on the F5, 36.4, so very similar indeed. But the scores are pretty interesting because the multi-core score is actually lower compared to the OnePlus 11, but the single core score is higher. And that is pretty interesting. And now I'm going to go on to the compute test. So again, I'll see you guys at the end when we do get the results. Okay, so finally we're done here, whereas the F5 is still running this test. And so far it looks like the GPU on the OnePlus 11 has been showing to be very consistently good. We give it a little bit more time for the POCO F5 to finish right here. Okay, so we are done, and in terms of the score, it's just so poor. No wonder it was performing so poorly over here. About maybe 1/3 of the score on the OnePlus 11. And also I just want to check out the temperatures here. 36.3, very manageable, and over here 36.4. Alright, and so finally here we are going to do the wildlife test. So 1, 2, 3, let's go. Just keep in mind on the battery here on the F5 it is at about 99, whereas on the OnePlus 11 is at about 94%. Both of them of course do have the 5000 mAh battery. Again, I'll see you guys at the end when we do get the results. Okay, so we are done here. So for the scores on the F5, 7004, whereas here's maxed out. In terms of the battery, it didn't really go down a lot here. And in terms of the refresh rate, here's maxed out again, whereas here's 44.7. So pretty interesting. And in case if you guys want to save this, you can save this here. I think the better frame rate you can get on the OnePlus 11. So going on to another test here, the final test, which is the slingshot test. 1, 2, 3, let's go. And again, I'll see you guys at the end when we do get the results. Okay, so finally we are done here with the OnePlus 11. Again, all maxed out, graphic test, showing a very consistent 60 FPS all around, especially for the last one. And we can see here that with the F5, it not only is a little bit slower, but it's surprisingly, it still does give very good FPS results. The first one did overtake, but it was a little bit of a give and toss towards the end. Okay, and of course measuring its temperatures, 38 degrees, and on the F5, 37.9, so very similar indeed. So yes, as we can see there, very good results. And of course, if you guys want to see more of these type of videos, do click the like and smash the subscribe button down below for more videos like this in the future. And I'll see you guys in the next one.